do you think it's fair or makes any sense that somebody who's on assistant programs, like whatever, right? Like they're getting funding from the government or subsidies, and
like the rent is really being manhandled down.
It's like if rent for a 1-bedroom, 575 square feet studio on somebody who's on an assistant program only has to pay between $600 and $800, and you're in a studio at 400 square feet and you're paying $1,700. And keep in mind, these are luxury apartments. These are luxury apartments.
And by the way, this person just...
I don't like this question.
They got a dog washing station, a car washing station. They got a heated underground garage.
Right. The garage
come with the apartment. A theater room. They got the same access to the space you're in, paying just under half. They're paying less than half.
Sometimes...
Do you feel like people who are getting these assistant programs should not have nicer things than someone who's not on these programs? It's a personal feel, not like a
right,
political
not political opinion.
Yeah, just a feeling.
On a personal feel, I would feel some type of way. Like if I worked my butt off to get in my RAV4 because that's all I can afford at my job that I clock in every day, that I get put on mandatory overtime for my lease agreement, which by the way is the most affordable one at $400 a month. And you got a 2025 Sequoia. I'm throwing hands. Well,
that's just like when we were in school and those kids who come to school with all the Jordans and they got all the nicest sneakers, yet you know where they live.
Right.
Like
that's where the money going. That's where all the spare money is going.
Like, what is you doing?
It's the same thing.
What are you doing? Hey, yo, can I have some of your lunch if you give me your sneakers?
Do you feel like... It is another one. This, again, personal feeling on the matter. Do you feel like someone who's on assisted programs should have access to luxury apartments? So, like, let's say, like, at the apartment itself, 575 square feet, brand new building, dog washing station, car washing station. They got a pool, a gym, a theater room. Brand new building. And their rent's only like $500, $600, $800. And if you lived in that community and you're shelling out $1,700 for your 465 square foot studio and they got a 1-bedroom, do you think that's fair?
I personally do not think that's fair.
I think I can't put the question together.
I feel
sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the question was, do you think it's fair or makes any sense that somebody who's on assistant programs, like whatever, right? Like they're getting funding from the government or subsidies, and
like the rent is really being manhandled down.
It's like if rent for a 1-bedroom, 575 square feet studio on somebody who's on an assistant program only has to pay between $600 and $800, and you're in a studio at 400 square feet and you're paying $1,700. And keep in mind, these are luxury apartments. These are luxury apartments.
And by the way, this person just...
I don't like this question.
They got a dog washing station, a car washing station. They got a heated underground garage.
Right. The garage come with the
pool,
apartment.
a theater room. They got the same access to the space you're in, paying just under half. They're paying less than half.
Sometimes a fourth.
Actually.
No, I was about to say, if you're being honest, like those ones, they'll be paying a fourth or a fifth of that bill that you have to make 2 times to qualify for.
So the question is, do you think that's fair?
I personally have a firm belief that is not fair. I think everybody's needs should be met. You know what I'm saying? And giving assistance should be able to have you meet your needs. And if you get a little bit of extra, like an extra $100 to $300, cool, whatever. But like that to that is not, you know what I'm saying? That's not a $200 or $300 gap. Like that's $2,400 versus $400. Like that's wild. That is wild.
Keep in mind, I mean, these are realistic things.
And by the way, I'm talking about luxury. I'm talking about luxury. I'm talking about luxury is like you're spending your extra money just to finesse. Right, and that's your right, and you get to finesse on what you want. Maybe you want a luxury apartment. Maybe you want a luxury car. Luxury is literally excess. That's what the whole mentality of it is.
When I hear luxury, to be fair, I think security. I think it's more about security than some people it is a luxury, whatever. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these luxury apartment complexes have security. They have all the cameras. They have the fail safes. You know, they got to check. Like you can't get in. Like you can get in the garage, but if you came through, like let's say the garage door was open and you're not going to get into somebody, you can't get in the building. You can't get into the elevator lobby. Maybe you could get in the elevator lobby, but you can't go up any floors because you need a badge or something to get to hit the button. Like you're paying for the security. There's fail safes, right?
Right.
I personally, I'm with you. I personally don't feel like it's fair.
I do think safety should be included in everything.
Yep.
I would say like there should be a security. If you got an apartment complex, regardless of what level it is, and you're housing over 20 people, you should have a security. You should have security and the camera footage, because that's the landowner's responsibility.
It's just basic.
That's just basic human necessity for safety purposes, and you have a right to be safe as a bare minimum, but. It's just, for me, luxury is like the excess. Like, if you have a golden trim pool and a state-of-the-art...
A pool in general.
Right? I used to have to go to hotels to swim.
The why?
Right? Like, what are you talking about? And you're telling me, like, I worked my butt off to get here. You know what I'm saying? I've changed my life. I've worked my butt off. I've gotten I went through 3 or 4 career changes to figure out what's profitable, what I can mentally handle. Because let's not talk about the workforce. It's also a mental struggle too. And also I can have a safe place to come, and you bring your ragtaggedy bad kids that you don't take care of.
You just got a stereotype.
No, because I'm one of the PHA people. I qualified. I know who I'm talking to. I know. I have a right. I wasn't. I'm calling it out. And you know that you having your bad kids run all up and down the hallways because you won't let them outside because you know it's bad. But, you know, you don't have good kids, so you know that they could get into trouble. So you got to tell them to, play in the hallway, and they smoking weed in the back door on the stairs. Because you know the stairs. You got the closed doors. Like, nah.
What Bluefer book you was reading?
Nah, this is life.
He said it's the life struggles right here.
In Bluefer High.
He said, I'm speaking history. What you talking about? What book I was? History book?
So and to have, because I would be honest, like the people, I've been around people, like there are people who need it. Right. And so like I get that there's disabled people. There's people who it's not that they're lazy. Like, they can't get up and walk.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not that he's handicapped. He just can't get up and walk.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can't help that. And then, but I have seen people who are completely able, mobile body in their limbs. They keep having kids. Like, we got a notice on our door. And they're like, we're about to do full inspections because there's a bunch of weed. And there's supposed to be no smoking in the building because people have ventilators. And literally... I seen the 14-year-old kid of one of these people just in the hallway with his friends smoking it up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I know people who will stay on the program. They won't do nothing. They will literally quit their job just to stay on that program.
Yeah, that's the goal.
You know what I'm saying?
Easier to be told what to do than it is to be free.
Right. Exactly. So no, you don't get to do that. Like literally, you don't get to do that and then get and you get a gold trim pool with free snorkeling equipment.
Nah, I got another question and we'll wrap this one up. Last question before
this was.
Last question before I wrap it up with the hot take. When it comes to government assisted programs, right? Any program that exists. Do you feel like there needs to be a significant change in all of them?
I think there needs to be a significant restructuring. There's a lot of things that I think we're starting to see that were good and like it had good stuff on paper, but like in execution, it's outdated. Like we went through so much evolution as a country and the people here in just the last 50 years, it's night and day. Like, and I think our rules and the things we have implemented in place need to reflect that. We need to it needs to be full uphaul from execution to systems to inclusion to execution and auditing and then really making sure the stuff's getting done.
No, I agree. It totally needs to be revamped because a program having you stay on it or having you do the bare minimum just so you can stay on it is BS.
Right.
Let's not like that. It's crap.
Right.
You can't have a job. You can't hold down the job because you're on this program.
Right.
And
I think especially if you throw a deadline
having
on there.
Programs teach you to depend on the program is nonsense. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
Because and then you got people who pay for the programs who are complaining about the programs, complaining about the people who are still on the programs when you told them that they couldn't do X amount of whatever to get off the program.
Right.
A follow-up question. No, sorry, go ahead, though. Go ahead.
No, I was just, I mean,
Yeah, no, like
it
valid,
needs to be revamped.
Valid. It needs to be.
And yes, I kind of agree with you I agree with you when you said that it needs to be like a time limit. It needs to be like okay.
Like if you have a lifelong
program,
disability that keeps you there forever, makes sense. But like if you have mobility in your hands and your only health condition is diabetes because you won't stop eating sugar, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work with you. But like there should be like, okay, like you got 4 years here on the like what is it, FAFSA? FAFSA is like you get to go for 4 years of college, and then like after that, like all of your additional colleging will be on you to further yourself. Like there should be assistance, but like there's a difference when it's a crutch versus a lifelong solution. Like
Question for you. You know how EBT works?
Yeah.
Show of hands. Everybody know
I
how
believe
EBT
I
works?
do. I used it all my life.
So you know.
This guy.
So from my understanding, you don't need anything other than the card and the pen.
Yeah.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Do you think, because I know people who would sell their EBT.
Yep.
They would say, hey, listen, I got $200 on this card. Give me like $150. You can have it. I don't know how they eat if they're selling their EBT, but somehow they figure it out. Hear me out, though. Do you think like one of the fastest ways to kind of mitigate some of the exploitations and government assistance programs is by requiring an ID and a photo of the person upon purchase? Ooh, so like with EBT being one of the easier targets, let's just say when you're purchasing food with an EBT
like,
card,
ID.
you need to swipe your ID. And then when you're at an airport and they say, okay, give me your ID, and they put the little thing through the scanner and they look at the photo, similar to that.
Some people some people send their kids to the store.
Yeah, that happens happens a lot. Whether it's your kids or your cousin.
But
again, if we're talking about disabled people,
who got issued the EBT card to? Was it the kid or was it you?
No, it was
most likely you.
So why is another person utilizing your card? Well, you would argue, well, it's for I'm feeding the kid. Like, okay, but who is it issued to? You or the kid?
It's issued to you.
So whose responsibility is it? Let that card goes disappearing. Is it the kid's fault or your fault?
I mean, okay, but then to caveat that, then are we going to do it for every Visa and Discovery card? Like people do give
when you use your debit card, technically you're supposed to have it signed.
Go in and then they're like, all right, cool, y'all go whatever. I'm going to go sit here at Starbucks. And that happens. Like it happens on both sides, right?
But in general, technically, when you swipe a card, I don't know if it's law. I assumed it was at one point, but you're supposed to be the owner. The card needed to be signed, and they're supposed to ask for an ID. They're supposed to check to make sure your name matches what's on the card, and then they swipe it. That was supposed to be a security feature that nobody ever really abides by.
Nope.
So. That's why I'm asking. As far as like the kid taking the EBT to go get food from, like, okay, whatever, right? I get it, but maybe that's rapport against the merchant versus the home. Like if I worked at a store and I knew that you were the kid of whoever owned this card, whatever, swipe away, have it.
That's what would happen. Like me and my sister would be sent to the store to grab us snacks or whatever we wanted. Because mom's at work, she's like, you know where the EBT card is. This is y'all limit. Go, come back.
Right.
But
let's not pretend like it's not the parents' responsibility to take care of those things.
It's supposed to be the parents.
So the question is though, how y'all feel about that though? If they required security similar to getting on an airplane to utilize government assistance programs, you think that's one easy way or fast way to mitigate some of the
exploitations? Depending on what it is.
Okay.
I think the thing here is I don't think it would fully, like you said, depending on what it is, I don't think it will fully mitigate. Because I love my people, but we don't give up. We don't. And they'd be like, all right, so like, what's your list? And they'll go in and they'll buy it, and then they'll still come out and give you it and take their $100. Like,
well, you know what? I mean, if you think about it too, because it doesn't like, need to be just the government assistance. That's the same thing with your BJ's card, your Costco card, your Sam's Club card.
Yeah, like.
But now one of them, I forget which store it is, changed it where you have to actually be the person because when
Costco.
No, I think it was Costco.
Yeah, they cracked down on that member sharing. They want their extra $60 for the year.
I want to know what the numbers is. I wonder if they lost people after they did that.
I mean,
they was like, hey, no, you got to actually be the person. And like a third of the families was like, nah, man.
I can't do that.
Sam's Club.
I don't want to pay the extra $100 to have a family membership to get an extra 2 people on the account. Like, okay.
You're right.
Okay. Hot take. Here's a hot take. Half of all social programs that currently exist could no longer be a thing and we'd be just fine.
Yeah, because that would only be a problem if you, which a lot of people do assume that all these services are being handled well and the money is going directly to the services that they're saying they're providing. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, there's nonprofits that don't like nonprofits. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, they got beef amongst each other because there are people who really do, like, they have a heart to help. Like, you know, they're like, I'm more fortunate. Like, I'm dedicating some of my funds and this business to actually serving people. And then there are literal scams that are like literal scams that are doing a horrible job, the bare minimum just to keep functioning and then pocketing as much as they can. Like, there was a grant given recently and I was able to be on the inside of it. And one person wrote up a good business plan, did the thing, they earned it, boom, gave it to them. It was like $75K. Like, ooh. Another person applied for $75K, but all they really needed was a 2200 refrigerator freezer. And there was 4 people on the staff. These were the 4 people who created it. So they're like, so we about to give 4 people $20K because like after you can buy 2 of those, and where's the rest of this going? And they still both got the grant. So the one person who, like, it's 50-50. The people who are screwing people over and the people who are doing the job is like, there's a whole discrepancy there. So I believe we could chuck up 60%, forget 50, 60 to 70%. And you would, it wouldn't feel like nothing changed because the people in your face doing the work are the same people in your face doing the work.
Got it. How you feel?
I feel like if it goes back to what we were saying before. If each program was operating in the way it should, it would, in being as effective as it should, there wouldn't be so many of them.
Right.
And if that's just more people to pull their ideas together into one program. And then also,
Good.
Also, if these people were getting the help that they needed, there wouldn't be as many people that still needing help. like this goes back to what I was saying before, like the need to be dependent on these things. Like if the program is effectively working as it should, your need to be dependent on it for X amount of years or X amount of time would significantly decrease, because these programs would essentially teach you how to manage your money. These programs would, so if you're on a program that's teaching you how to manage your money, teaching you how to manage your money, teaching you unless you got a thing where you can't comprehend how to manage money after X amount of time, or unless you got a thing where...
In my defense, if I tell you 5 years, the same 5 steps, I'm...
I'm
gonna rotate too. Like, I'm like, look, hey, your due date in 2 months.
But the thing is, like, okay, yeah, if you're on a program that's teaching you how to do these things, teaching you how to sustain your life, teaching you how to, manage your money, teaching you how to,
better preach,
do these things, then once that little program period is up, now they can go on to teach the next person, because you should now know how to manage your money. You should now know how to be more efficient, sufficient.
I agree with that for sure.
If a program does what it's supposed to do and truly does what the value and the core of the program, that every program has a mission statement. If it does and stays true to the mission statement, then you don't need to continue to be there.
Right. Actually, can I go off that real quick? Sorry to interject, but like, you know, when you do something, when people do help you sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't you seen them like where like some of them will like they'll like blacklist you, like not in a rude way, but they'll be like, all right, cool. Once we give you help and service you, like we gotta go and help the other people who have not gotten service yet before we come back and like help you or whatever. Like I've started to see that now where there's like thresholds where it's like, okay, we're not here to just help your life for the rest of your life. Like you're getting assistance. It's about $2,000. Cool. And then we're going to check in with you for the next 2 years, and then you'll be able to requalify again next year or the year after that, right? So that way their stuff is not also getting like soaked up because again, people will exploit it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know, I feel like you would be okay with that because your stuff would be handled. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got your assistance, you got support. And also, I'm a firm believer, like you shouldn't have the same problem if you're really getting help in that problem. It's like, all right, screwed up, like my finances. I learned finances now, so no matter which job I go to, I know what to look for, whatever the spot.
It's about the budgeting. Whatever job you go to, I can come up with a budget.
Right.
If I'm laxing somewhere, if I'm not making enough, either I can find another job or I can come up with a side gig or something.
But then also you would actually have your budget, so you'd be like, all right. So I know I got rent. I know I got these things. And then after that, at this job, I might have $300 of expenses, of excess money a month. But at the next job, I actually get $200 per paycheck and I get paid every week. So now I'm at $800. You know what I'm saying? If you're paying attention to that, you know, now your problem's not money. Now it's like, cool, how can I get a lower loan? Or who can I do? Your problem should change and grow with you and adjust. And I also want to go off another thing that you said when you were like, you know, if everybody was doing their job and they were consolidated, there'd be more people helping. And it's like, yeah, if y'all all had the heart, right, to start these nonprofits, and even half of y'all, and then you cut them in half, and it's like, cool, now we need 2,000 people that are no longer owning nonprofits, but have the heart to help. Cool, team up with this nonprofit, and now they got staff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're doing their job, you know what I'm saying? Like, now it's like you got more people to help. So, like, the workforce wouldn't change.
I'm going to wrap it up by saying, personally, I think we can get rid of 85% of nonprofits that solely focus on the general public and assisting them with whatever they got going on in life. I'm not talking about the nonprofits that give out bicycles or, you know, stuff like no, I'm talking about the nonprofits that are like financially you need assistance here, like, or if it's like, hey, we're going to help you find better work, employment, whatever. Yep. Those I think we can get rid of like 85, keep 15 and consolidate everybody into one bigger deal or a couple of bigger deals and tell them like, listen,
that makes perfect sense.
If there's like 5,000 employees of nonprofits total, let's just say in the state of Minnesota, that's an exaggerated number,
right.
You know, but let's say there's like 5,000 of them, and there's, I don't know, 200 nonprofits. Again,
right?
There's definitely more than 200 nonprofits,
maybe 300, even if you do cut it down by 85.
So, well, let's say like we cut it down to like 25 nonprofits, and they all focus on either different things, or you have 2 to 3 nonprofits that are focusing on the same thing. Well, now you have to serve these communities, and these nonprofits are solely like you have territories, kind of like you know, counties. Like you say, hey, this nonprofit does exactly the same work we do, except they're on the north side of 94 and we're on the south side.
Right. And then the conversation would be easier. Like the resource juggling is so insane with all these nonprofits that people who need the help and who are looking for them can't find them.
Yep.
Because it's like the internet. It's just information in general. You don't know what's good or bad and what you can rely on or not. So it's like when you consolidate they down and you're like, okay, these 25 nonprofits serve BIPOC. These ones will focus on finances. These 2 focus on cars. These 3 focus on utility. You know what I'm saying? Like, Okay.
But they tell you, like, you have to go to this nonprofit. They will help you.
The
resources right there.
They're here to serve you.
Not, hey, there's like 5 different nonprofits. You got to ask them, and you call the first 2, and they're like, hey, unfortunately, your car's a little too old. You should maybe go to talk to this nonprofit, and they'll help you try to find a newer car. And you're like, I literally cannot afford a new car. To the point where, like, I literally can't even fix the car I got.
At that point, it just seemed like you need an effective directory.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a nonprofit for that.
Or a thing. Yeah, but a middleman or a thing that kind of says, okay, list your issues. This is your problem. Right. Okay, you can go here, you can go there, you can go here, you can go there. And this might be a good thing for like social workers, for them to be the directory, because then it'd be like they're in touch with all these different things. They can do the kind of a little bit of the legwork for you, where they can call and say, hey, this is this person's situation. They're coming. Can you help them? If you can't help them, how can we help them? How can we,
And the thing is, the directory that was in place first was just the general county. Yeah, I think and they just listed them out by the hundreds. Mm-hmm. And it's like, nah, like if you, like you were saying, if social workers pick up that part of it, it's like, it's our community. Like, y'all should be networking. Yep. Like, theoretically speaking, a nonprofit is still a business. It's just a business of service strictly. You know what I'm saying? So all the money they needs to go into the business to help the people.
That's why I like this thing about, when somebody says, oh, I work, either you own the nonprofit or you work for a nonprofit, and everybody goes, my condolences. Because congratulations, you opened the floodgates to nothing but stress. And, you're going to stress trying to serve. You're going to stress serving. You're going to stress the next day about the whole profit and the nonprofit and everything else that comes in between.
Right.
There is a personal opinion, then I'm wrapping it up. I truly believe you should be able to walk in whatever nonprofit and ask them a question that's completely and utterly unrelated to their nonprofit, and that nonprofit should be able to point you to the nonprofit you're looking for. But they can't because there's too many, and they're like, I don't know anything about this other. Well, if you only had 15 nonprofits all basically running, or maybe 20, but they're all running around doing similar stuff, and it just so happens that their nonprofit is booked out, or like, hey, we're at our max, but we know for a fact these other 3 nonprofits are available. Right. I can see it right here on Teams or whatever.
There would be no excuse with that, because remember, we were in high school and we remembered how many people's names, and we had like 500 students. So you cut that in half and you got 200 to 250 nonprofits in the entire state, and they're already categorized into 5 to 10 different groups. That's not going to be hard at all, right? Like you said, you could make a cheap directory and be like, all right, we get 200 people. All right, Asian culture, Black American culture. You could just type it in the computer and do it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that lady say when a guy's wasting their time? If he wanted to, he would. You know what I'm saying? So so it's one of those things where it's like, and that would literally clean it up. Like, and even if you want to still add more later, if you started there, that would clean up so much. And then everybody would be able to document. They're like, hey, I know we got 20 nonprofits, but we've done the calculations because we already serve like 300 each one. We need about 2 more for Asians, and we need about 4 more for Blacks, and we need about 1 for Slovakian, because we didn't even know that they were a demographic, and now we want to get them started on the small. And then it's like, oh, now we can put money towards what's actually doing work.
It would even make more sense when you consolidate these nonprofits to say this is a branch of this nonprofit. Like, call it what do you call those, foundations or something like. Just be like, hey, this nonprofit that solely worked with like single moms or something. Well, guess what? There was like 30 other nonprofits that's doing. Like, let's say there's like 10 other nonprofits that were doing something similar, albeit a little different.
Right.
Well, congratulations. You're now one part of one branch, or you're this department for single moms, and now
your special
you
thing.
Grow. But you have the funding, because you're not fighting for the same funding. The foundation's collecting that money, and they're saying this is the budget
properly.
This is your budget. What can you do? And you could flat out say, hey, I was by myself. I was pushing like $40K a year, maybe $100K, but now that the foundation's with me and they solely took care of that for me, I can solely focus on making sure that this money is being used properly, instead of having, like, if you have to spend 2 to 3 months out of the year making sure you can come up with the different grants you need, and you're still hunting for more, Instead, now you have a whole department, a part of this foundation that's literally solely like, nah, I'll take that.
Right.
You know, or like the government says, hey, Minnesota, here's $100 million in nonprofit money.
And what
y'all
you
split it up against the 3 foundations.
What you just described was how it was supposed to run from the start.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was the whole federal government and state government collaboration. They were supposed to audit, take it, filter it, and then be like, boom, here, we got it. It was supposed to run like that. You know, so it's like, again, it needs to be updated, revised, and kept track of.
Thanks for watching Chocolate Espresso Podcast. We appreciate you watching part 2. Check out these other videos. Peace.
Peace.